Welcome to Puff Daddy Reef, and today I'll be showing you the build of my stand for my Red Sea Reefer 650 aquarium. I'm running everything at 32 times speed so you can get an idea. You want a long afternoon in order to build this. To enhance the experience, I have music provided by DJ Airecho. I'll link him in the description below. And please, if you have any comments as I go through this build, just put them in the comment section below and I'll get to them as fast as I can. Let's get started. So the first part is to start with these H pieces. They're the long, nearly full-length pieces. There's a couple that are a little thicker, but you want to start with the thin ones. And basically we're just putting in the auto-leveling bottoms and some of the little push-in plastic holders, and then a couple of these locking screws. So I'm going to screw them in, but I'm going to do it very gently because the threads are going into our plastic. So I just spent a decent amount of time looking for this piece. It's labeled R, and actually the bill of materials, it says that there's only one. So I didn't think I would see it anywhere, but fortunately it was packaged. It's actually a clip for the magnetic release of the cabinet. And so it was packaged with the magnetic release, which is in its own package, and it just snaps right off. So I found this, and I've also made my first mistake. Or possibly a mistake, I think I just did something out of order, but I put these components on this side of the board. I should put them on the other. One last thing to note, when you're building this cabinet, the doors only open on one side, so you have to pick. Do you want right opening doors or left opening doors? Because of my setup where I'm going to put it, I'm going to have them opening on the right side when you're facing the tank. That's how they define right. And so there's instructions that basically show you, let me see if I can pull them up, as you go through, there's essentially right and left hand side. So you have to follow the instructions for the side so your cabinet turns out how you want. So I'll get back to building it, but that's a good thing to know if you're looking for part R. It's actually clipped to this. And one last quick tip, when you are putting this part in, there's a little tab that kind of points in a little more aggressively, and that's the one that's going to go towards the outside because that hooks in to the front of the little magnetic release. So that part's going to be on the outside, so if I come down here, it's going to go right about there, and then when this magnetic release is there, the doors will open and close. So just a quick tip, if you want to install these latches without the big latch on, like it shows in the diagram, there's a little button here that you press and the whole latch comes out. So then you can bolt this latch right on, and then later you just hook it on at the bottom there, and then you should be able to snap it right back in, so, like that. So that's how you can install it like it is in the picture. So I just realized I made a quick mistake. I used a couple of the screws that came in with this package for the third door latch. I should have used these V2 screws, which I have 6 of them. So just make sure you're not guessing on the screws. Look at the name of the screw and then how many are in that bag so you know which one to take. So I'm going to replace those screws so I have the ones I need for this, and we'll keep going. So this next step, they want us to put the first two pieces together. This is going to be kind of complicated, but basically you can determine which one you put on. If you're doing the right side, you do this one, H1, that doesn't have these tiny holes in it along the side, and if you're doing the left side, it's the other way around. So keep worrying I'm going to mess up, but I think it will be alright. I'm pretty sure this is the one, so we'll do it, see how it turns out.
So what I found out later is those holes are actually for mounting the fixed side panels. Also, here's a quick shot of the tightening mechanisms. Those things are used to lock in all those little exposed screws that kind of screw into these little recessed plastic pieces. Between that and some white plastic nubs, that kind of helps you align everything, and then you twist those like locking cams to hold everything in place.
Finished assembling a large portion of the frame, and you may have seen me kind of tightening some of those things with the drill. Just be careful, keep it on a really low torque setting so you don't over torque those. You probably should just tighten them by hand, but sometimes take shortcuts to make things go quicker, but you just got to be very careful. And now it's time to put on the big base plate that's going to be the stand for the aquarium. So I'll get started. Put on the front and back of this stand. But first I got to put all the connectors and different pins in there. So let's get started.
This is techno.
So now I'm trying to get everything level, and you don't do the entire leveling until the aquarium is on the stand. So I just want to make sure these things are about the same. So what I'm going to use is a reference, and I'm just using the width of the little wrench that they sent us. So I'm just adjusting them so there's the same gap as that width, and then that should be the same throughout. It's the easiest way I can think of. This puts it right about where you have plenty of room to go down, and you're almost in the dead center of the level. So which should be about right. That gives you room to move up a little bit and down a lot more. So just to show you, that's kind of the distance improved between that nut. So I'm going to go do that for all of them, and then I'm going to flip everything up and put the doors on.
So now I have the tank stand mostly put together. The only things left are the doors, the back panels, and the floor panels. And then of course adding the tank and plumbing it. So you can see there's actually, it's pretty light on the frame down there. There's lots of these like auto leveling components. That's going to be helpful for leveling the tank, but I do anticipate it will be a little complex, might take a little time because there are so many of those to move. There's the front of the tank. I'm really glad that I got white. It matches the walls and will help brighten up the room. I started collecting a lot of dark furniture, and so I wanted something a little bit brighter. But it's very large, and it has this nice foam mat on top. On the back, it's got a good cutout for the chiller, and then the cutout for the overflow pipes. So this is well thought out. If you think you need a chiller, we'll actually see how it all goes together, but you can back up the chiller out there so it's not dumping heat into your cabinet, it's dumping heat outside of the tank, which is always good. I have really good AC at my place, so I'm not going to worry about that. But there she is. And then I have the sump there, so it looks like we're getting closer and closer to getting this thing set up. So now it's time to bolt on all of the 3 back panels. These are the fixed panels that will not open. The great thing about these is they just have 4 holes in each panel, so they should be easy to screw in. And I'm doing this by myself, so I found they fit these little nano reef species books perfectly. So I have set them on that, and it's going to be good to go to screw in. So there's these screws. They fit right into these little covers, and these covers will keep it from being exposed. I'll show you that in more detail, but you just screw them in, and then I'll go underneath, and there's just those 4 spots that I'm going to bolt them in. They're already pre-positioned, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm just closing the plastic tabs to cover the screws that screw on the back walls of the cabinet. What I really like about this tank is that there's plastic or rubber pieces to cover all of the exposed metal parts, so it both looks good and protects it from salt. So I thought I'd leave you all with a sneak peek of the completed cabinet with the tank on top. Now I won't get in too much into detail on the tank in this episode, so subscribe. I've got another episode coming back where I'll talk a lot more about the tank. Once again, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me comments below. I can answer your questions. And happy reefing.